It's the Pete Sousa Show. Sports,
Nobody tells our stories better than our clients.
The difference is stark. I was rear-ended at a stop. I thought I was fine, and then once I got home, I realized it's a lot worse than I thought. I ended up having a ruptured disc. You say you're not hurting, and then an hour later, you're saying you're in all this pain. I just felt like most people would think that I was lying. And that's when I decided to call Daniel Stark. I owe a lot to Daniel Stark. They really got me what I deserved.
The difference is stark.
We definitely love our relationship and love Extraco. It's been an amazing experience.
They made the PPP process easier. They were reaching out to me saying, what can I do to help you? That made a huge difference because my stress level, when we shut down, to afterwards was night and day.
Our experience with Extraco has been phenomenal since the very beginning, so we love Extraco.
Tervis is all about staying hydrated with style and durability. You can trust Tervis tumblers to keep your drinks the perfect temperature, hot or cold, for hours. From the classic insulated tumblers to sleek stainless steel water bottles, each product is built to last and comes in endless designs to match your personality. Stay refreshed and express yourself with Tervis. Visit tervis.com today and find your perfect tumbler.
Since our founding, we've been revolutionizing hair removal with cutting-edge technology and a commitment to empowerment. The U-Like Air 3, launched in 2023, ushers in a new era of sapphire ice cooling technology, offering nearly painless hair reduction in just 3 weeks. Experience the future of hair removal today at ulike.com, because at Ulike, beauty is about looking and feeling good. That's ulike.com. Ulike. With Ease US, make studio quality voiceovers for your videos online in over 149 languages and dialects, featuring 468 natural AI voices. Customize the volume, mood, and pauses to perfectly match your content. Plus, capture high quality videos with no watermark. Record your screen, webcam, and voice, and save them instantly to your computer. Never been easier to create professional grade videos and voiceovers. Try it today at easeus.com. That's EASEUS.com. Ease US.
Just use AMP-Pace.
AMP-Pace.
Happy Tuesday. The Pete Sousa Show is here again. If I didn't know any better, Scotty, I'd say somebody was messing with the camera in here. But I mean, you did? Yeah. You're my man. I mean, you'd like to think that this is the Pete Sousa Show studio. And look, by no means, am I an exclusive rights holder to this piece of real estate. But at the same time, my parents taught me, and I chose to completely ignore it. But when you mess with something, put it back the way you found it. I probably did that 5% of the time. So who am I to be hypocritical? Here we are in the Alico building, high atop. We're in Waco, Texas, folks, but we're worldwide. We got worldwide guests. We have guests that are very significant to folks here in America, especially if you like America's team, because we got Brad Sham coming up in Block 2 from Oxnard, California. If you don't know who Brad is, welcome to life. out from under that rock. He is the Dallas Cowboys play-by-play guy. Since 1977, he's been a part of the radio broadcast. He works alongside Vern Lundquist and then takes over the duties after Vern's left, and we've never looked back. Brad is the kind of guy, like if I'm in the car, I will search for Brad. I'll get in the car and drive around so I can hear Brad on a Cowboys game. I mean, that's the truth. So it is. It's Tuesday. There's a lot to cover today. I'm obviously Brad in the B block, and obviously Slovacic makes this happen. Yo, Slovacic has to be so happy. I'm gonna send Ray a copy of yesterday's. Basically, it was a legendary, historic interview. There you go, Scotty. That's what I'm talking about. Okay, there we go. It was a legendary, historic interview. We had James Franklin on, Baylor great, Cincinnati Bengal great. And what did I say, Franklin? Yeah, that guy can't coach against top 25 teams, so the top 10 teams. No, we had James Francis on, and his former teammate, Takeo Spike, surprised him. And during the surprise, the Slovacic's label was kind of covering part of James's eye, like Slick Rick, which was pretty cool, like an eye patch. Scotty moved it, but for a little bit, we were living high on the hog there, out there at Slovacic's and West. So we're getting it done, baby. We are getting it done with our advertisers. Daniel Stark Injury Lawyers, of course. We love Daniel Stark. And when I say that, I truly do. I love Daniel. And all they do a lot of great work there, right? And if you get yourself in a jam, get into an accident, you just call Daniel Stark, and that's the first thing you do. Socorro Family Ford, of course. Crawford Austin Properties, and of course, our good friends at Extraco Bank and First National Bank of Central Texas. Dan Ingham, what is up? Okay. Man, a lot to unpack. I want to start with, by the way, at the end of the show, we'll have a Happy Gilmore 2 review. So look forward to that. It is definitely like what Bill Simmons' father refers to as a 5 o'clocker. 5 o'clock on a Saturday, you're not doing anything. It's that's when you watch Happy Gilmore 2, okay? But you watch it eventually, I think. So that'll be a part of the show as well. Make sure you like and subscribe. Caitlin Clark's injury, she was expected, quite possibly, to be back tonight against the LA Sparks, and she's not. She's not going to be back tonight. They're going to continue to evaluate her. This is the 17th game she's missed this season after hardly missing, I don't think she missed any games in college. She suffered the injury on July 15th. There's really no specific long-term timetable for her return. This is via the Indiana Fever. No additional damage, so it's nothing. Evaluations have said there's nothing beyond the groin injury, right? But I think there's something afoot here. With the Fever, and we'll just keep an eye on this. I was thinking about this morning. I actually reached out to my main man, Troll, out in Hermosa Beach, and he did not get back to me. He's like trainer to the Stars, and I wanted to know a little bit more about what he thought about this, because I feel like it's taken too long for her to recover from a groin injury, and I think that because it's Caitlin Clark, because of the complete firestorm that was around her and the Fever, and the overwhelming attention, and the flames that had just fanned all year long, right? By fans, by toxic fans, by behavior on the court that was maybe a little extra towards Caitlin Clark. Things have sort of settled down throughout the course of the WNBA, and the Fever are winning. Now, I'm not saying, at some point you're going to have to get her back on the floor, and the drama will return again. But in the meantime, I feel like, she's traveling with the team. She's participating in the team activities, but she's not playing in games. And I think if this was the seventh man in the rotation for the Connecticut Sun, or seventh woman, she'd be back playing right now. But it's Caitlin Clark. They're being uber careful. It's almost like they have her and this entire delicate situation, because that's what it has become in bubble wrap. So that's a situation. We'll see how it plays out. But it's kind of fallen off the radar, and I went to check this morning because there was a point in time this year where the Fever were appointment viewing for me because I wanted to see Caitlin Clark. A lot of that's tailed off. And maybe some of that's good for Caitlin Clark's mental health. Certainly good for her groin. But more will be revealed there as time goes on. College football poll was released yesterday. For the first time in like 60 years, Oklahoma is not in the top 25. Okay? Baylor is not in the top 25. Texas A&M is at 20, much to Scotty's chagrin. Much to Scotty's amusement. But at 1 and 2, Ohio State and Texas, right? And they will meet in week 1 of the college football season. Arch Manning goes to Columbus, right? Now, that's a big noon kickoff game, which Ryan Day can't love that. There are so many big noon kickoff appointments this season for Ohio State. They have a lot of early games. And that's something that with that Fox affiliation and to go with Ohio State, it's kind of a good problem to have because if you're on big noon kickoff, it's great for the school, obviously, right? It's great for the co-eds, but at the same time, it doesn't give you that prime time dose of Ohio State and doesn't give Ohio State and its recruits a dose of that prime time vibe. Buckeyes will still be okay. All you have to do is look in the rear view and see their national championship, right? But Arch Manning and having his first game, right, roll out against, he's not playing Stephen F. Austin, right? I have Stephen F. Austin in Houston. That's my week 1 appointment, okay? The Arch Manning isn't playing Stephen F. Austin. Arch Manning's playing Ohio State. So very quickly, and it's not going to be like we're going to come draw some great conclusion after this game. I mean, we've known this game has been on the schedule forever. But what we haven't known that it's a 1 versus 2 showdown, which all that does is pour gasoline on the fire, right? There's more and more hype as we get set to start the college football season, and 1 versus 2 is going to be super exciting. What's Scotty B, the Baylor King, saying? Anything from in the chat, Scotty? I see it like bubbling up in there.
Oh, Scotty B saying all kind of things here. Looks like I need to turn my microphone up too. Somebody turn all these microphones down.
Scotty's about to pitch a fit, dude.
I'm gonna get somebody. He said Tennessee shouldn't be ranked either.
He might be right.
I'm not sure I agree with that.
Okay.
I think Tennessee could be pretty good.
Okay.
What makes you think they shouldn't be?
Are you me?
Yeah.
I didn't say that.
I thought you said he might be right.
Well, no, he could be right. Yeah, the Tennessee. You don't think Tennessee will be good?
I think they could be good.
Yeah.
I like Josh Heupel.
Yeah.
BYU shouldn't be ranked. I agree with that. I don't know. We don't even know if they have a quarterback.
Yeah.
Pete thinks they do.
I do. Bear Bachmeyer.
That's it. He thinks BYU and Tennessee are overrated, I guess.
Okay.
Thanks, Scotty B.
All right. Thanks, Scotty B, for checking in.
I think Texas A&M's overrated.
I know.
I don't think they have a quarterback.
Who was that dude you showed me?
Marcel Reed.
So there's video on the internet.
Look at my Twitter. I said these guys are cooked. Marcel Reed's throwing deep balls. Can't hit a single deep ball. Can't hit a single receiver in stride.
It does. He looks anything but crisp. So early in the season, you don't want to get too wrapped up in that. But he looks anything but crisp. Okay, so one other thing I wanted to talk about as we get set to start this Tuesday, and again we got Brad Sham coming up in about 6 minutes here, so we'll take a break in a moment. This is just a life lesson. I had a situation this morning where I'm leaving my building, getting set to walk on over here to the Alico building where we do the Pete Sousa show on the Rogue Media Network. And the guy who runs my building, this guy Sam, best guy, he had like a suit on. Sam never has a suit on. So what do you say if you're the jokester, hey, what are you going to, court or church? Of course, that's what I say, right? Well, he's going to a funeral. So, yeah, that didn't go over well. Like my father would say, that joke went over like a fart in church. And I bring up my father because today would have been his birthday. 39, he was born in 39. My dad would be 86 today. So he's the big guy, 86 in the sky, my main man. Happy birthday, Pops. I thought that Baylor not being in the top 25 preseason poll is fine because they're clearly in a position where they can the front part of Baylor's schedule, alleviates any concern about, hey, we were left out of the top 25. This will mess us up long term. No, it's totally fine. If anything, I think it keeps the chip on the shoulder of the guys practicing right now down the street. Sawyer Robertson, Josh Cameron, video online yesterday. And I'm not sure what to make of all the training camp video, because I've obviously, as we evolve as a society, right, with like just digital clips and access at training camps now, there's a lot of people at camp now who weren't at camp before. And what I mean by that is credentials and the footprint is expanding to different types of media. And so I'm seeing more than ever this year all kinds of, just all kinds of clips and, stuff that I had never seen before. So I like to take all that with a grain of salt. We got, by the way, do you want to just go right to Brad Sham? I'm not keeping Brad Sham waiting. If I could bring up Mr. Brad Sham, if he is ready in his hotel room in Oxnard, California, well, I'm not taking a break and having Brad Sham wait 4 minutes. That's what I'm not doing. There he is. Hey, Brad, hang on 1 second. Can you?
Pete, I can wait 4 minutes if you want. That's not
no. We don't make you wait, my man. Brad Sham, what's happening?
I'm not sure yet. I haven't been outside. It's everything's good. The weather's fantastic. I could stay here as long as they want me to.
What is your favorite part about heading out to training camp in Oxnard?
Have you looked at the weather?
Oh, it's Southern California, right?
Well, you have your phone there?
Yeah.
Google the weather in Oxnard, California.
All right, let me check.
But before you read it to everybody, just tell them what the temperature is there today.
All right, so we got right now 65 and not a cloud in the sky.
That's in Oxnard.
Yeah, though that's that's right. Right now we got a high of 94 coming today, and there's not a cloud in the sky, and it's going to be some of that sizzling heat that kind of makes your skin percolate, Brad.
Right, and so in Oxnard today, it's I've got 64 and cloudy. If I went outside right now, I'd have to have a jacket. I'd have to pull my hood up on my hoodie. By the time they practice today at 4 o'clock Central Time, 2 o'clock here, the Rams are coming to practice today. It's actually going to be hot today. It's going to be around 77. And then if I go out to dinner tonight, I will need a jacket because it'll be down around 68. The part that I like best, Pete, about coming to training camp, it's the weather.
Hands down.
Yeah.
1977 to 83, this was the Cowboys radio analyst alongside Vern Lundquist.
Actually started in the middle of the season in 76.
Okay, started in the middle of the season in 70. What happened where you started in the middle of the season?
They had hired Chris Needham Al Wisk had been with them working with Vern and Frank Lieber when he felt like it. And Al got in a fight with the general manager at KRLD, which was the flagship station. And he left in the summer of 76. And they hired Chris Needham, who spent some time in Temple and Waco, and it just that apparently didn't work out. And so they were ready to do something different. The biggest part of the job was actually not doing the games with Vern. It was doing a show like this 5 nights a week. There were only 2 in town. And I had started one on the smaller station that I was at in 1972. And so KRLD started one to compete with it and blew it out of the water. And that was the biggest part of the job. And so it wasn't working out with Chris, and they called me in October. I was the PR director of the Chicago Sting of the North American Soccer League, and the soccer season had just ended. And so they called me, and I'm really compressing this story a lot, but I wound up starting in October.
I love hopping in the time machine and hearing stories like that and getting some of the history. For people that don't know the history of the Cowboys, everybody's talking, Jerry, and I understand that. We'll get to that right now. But when you started in '76, it was so much the treatment of the media was glorious, right? By Tex Schramm. Like, what was it or was it not? You tell me. But I remember reading and just hearing stories from guys like you that it was a whole new, the media was treated in such a way that it sort of changed the coverage around the NFL.
That's a great point to debate. And people who were there, who were on the job even before I started, might have a different perspective. I think the really accurate way to say it would be that the whole media world was different. If you think about 1976, there was, not only was there no internet, there was literally no ESPN. Literally. It didn't start until a few years later. So the media was the three local newspapers, and USA Today wasn't printing yet, and the 3 or 4 local TV stations, and then TV stations who would come in once or twice a week from around the state, and particularly in north central Texas, and then the national media, and that would be newspapers. And that was the media. Now, was the media treated differently? Yes, but the whole world was different. So access to players and coaches was completely different. And Tex was pretty famous for knowing how to deal with the media. He was also pretty famous for being really combustible. There's nobody, me included, Vern included, there is nobody who dealt with the Cowboys on a regular basis who at some point did not have at least one explosive fireworks blow up with Tex Schramm. And he had the great capacity of letting it go. I mean, 2 days later, he barely remembered it. Now, all his people around him did, and they could make your life difficult. But yeah, I mean, it was just a whole different world. It's almost not fair to compare it, but I think that if people in our business were being fair about it and looked back, they would say that it was relatively easy. The Cowboys made it easy to do your job. They didn't make it easy to be good at your job, but they made it easier to do your job. No one's doing anybody any favors today.
Well, you're out there now. I think the only training camp you have not seen the head coach, or the only head coach's tenure you haven't seen begin, is Tom Landry.
Yeah,
so
that's right.
You've seen them all get started.
Yeah, yes. Yeah.
Brian Schottenheimer starting his first training camp. What is the vibe around there that you're feeling? Brand new coach, turning the page on some stuff. What are you noting out there?
Well, from the time that we were given access to the 3 OTAs and the 3 minicamp days we could see, you could tell that there was an energy that wasn't here in the last couple of years. And that has a lot to do with Brian. It has a lot to do with a fairly young coaching staff, and they are high energy. He is, I think, doing a great job with the media because he answers every question. I mean, it may not be complete paragraphs on some things that he doesn't want to talk about, but maybe with 1 or 2 little subjects, he's not ducking anything. And he hasn't since the day he got the job. And that's a change. That's really unusual. I'd say that his openness, he uses the word authenticity a lot, and I think that it's true. I know a couple of veteran reporters who are already getting a little tired of hearing him say that, but I think it's true. I think he's who he is, and his enthusiasm is not like over the top, bubbly with rose-colored glasses, because he's been wanting to do this for a long time. But he knows what he's getting into. Look, being the head coach of the Dallas Cowboys is not the same thing as being the head coach of any other franchise. And in order to be successful, you have to understand that and embrace it and be able to deal with some of the things that might not happen in other places. And he has done a great job of that so far. He's very organized. He's very open with the players. Players love him. Now, all of that will not count for anything as soon as all of the offensive coordinators who have Twitter accounts get on there and start ripping him for play calls and touchdowns that don't get scored and players that don't perform well and games they lose. That'll all change. But right now, I think he's off to a really positive start. And also, the expectations are low for him from the public and the media. He was not in all of the coaching conversations the last couple of years. Nobody was talking about, well, you got to hire Brian Schottenheimer like they were Ben Johnson or Aaron Glenn or some of those other guys. And so I think expectations are low. He's got, and then the smart thing to me is the way that he's dealt with the media, which is open and fair. He gets a little longer leash. He creates for himself a little longer leash, and that will, that'll get him through training camp. Anyway, we'll see what happens in Philadelphia.
Well, he's had a tough road to navigate so far in training camp. Obviously, the Micah contract. For you, who's been around it again, we mentioned, you see the whole field. And do you just see this getting done before the start of the regular season? Because folks from the outside, Brad, it's you mentioned fireworks. It's a fireworks display every time you turn around, but you're somewhat insulated, and you also have a great deal of history to lean on.
Yeah, well, I am somewhat insulated by the very nature of my job, and I've said more than once, either to myself or to people I've been walking by with as beat writers are working in the media tent trying to put together the latest thing Micah has posted or Jerry's latest 20-minute press conference. I've said more than once, boy, I'm glad I don't have to do that anymore. I'm just getting ready for the games. That's a two-edged sword, Pete, because on one hand, yeah, I think it'll get done. They want him. They want to pay him a lot of money. He's acting aggrieved, and he's going to get somewhere in the neighborhood of $40 million a year on average. It's structure and years, but right now his feelings are hurt. And Jerry has always said he tries to follow the logic that you don't let your money get mad. I've seen him let his money get mad once or twice. It hadn't worked out well. But he's playing a little longer game. There are two things for a player to lose when you're in the middle of something like this. One is obviously money. If you hold out, if you don't play games, right now he's not losing anything. Really. Now, he would get a big fine having reported if he left camp, but he's not losing anything. They don't get paid except for a per diem until the regular season starts. Once you get in the regular season and you start missing game checks, that is serious money. And I've never known any of them who wanted, Emmett missed 2 games in 1990. And that wasn't this kind of money. It was a lot of money for them. So that's one thing that a player doesn't want to do is lose money. The other thing is, and they're not all aware enough to get it at this stage of their life in the moment, but you don't get those games back. You don't get years back. So their opportunity to play the game they love and show off and take advantage of all the other opportunities that stuff provides. That stuff is limited, and you don't want to miss those. And he doesn't want to miss them. Micah wants to play. He knows he's going to get paid. Right now, it's about feelings. So you just have to let that go. We still have 2 weeks. We got what's today? Tuesday. We've still got the better part of 2 weeks out here, and then you've got another 2 weeks before maybe 3 before the regular season starts. So stuff has a way of getting done, and they have never shied away from the philosophy of deadlines make deals. I don't like it particularly, but no one cares what I like, and fans don't like it. It's ludicrous to say pay Micah. Of course they're going to pay Micah. On the other hand, no one ever wants to put themselves in the position of the owner who's dealing with a hard salary cap. And so I think that now I'm just getting into the why is this going on, and people just want to say, oh, it's just Jerry. Well, yeah, there's some of it. I mean, Jerry's who he is, and Jerry likes the drama. That's what makes Jerry different from the rest of us. Jerry loves the drama. He lives for it. You don't want to. When he said the other day when we I started to say when we came back out here, but we never left. When he said I would tell Cowboy fans don't lose any sleep over it the day after Micah put out the big Instagram post. And that's because these things almost always work out. I would just refer you back to Myles Garrett a year ago. I mean, he said almost the same things. I'm done in Cleveland. Trade me. It's been swell. See you later. And then, in 2 weeks, he's got a new lifetime contract. Yeah. But the thing that is not knowable is how much time does he miss? What kind of shape is he in, football shape? I think it's to his credit and benefit that these hold-ins instead of holdouts are not bad things. So he is out there every day, and he's spending time in the meetings, and he's trying to pick up from Matt Eberflus what the defense is going to ask of him and give him the opportunity to do. So he wouldn't be coming in cold, but the training of the body for football specific work and position specific work, that's hard to get. And I'd be very careful. They will have to be careful depending on when he gets done they'll have to be careful about how they avoid soft tissue injuries with that kind of thing. I mean, but it's unfortunate. And this is where, look, this is my 47th year doing this, and it's all of them that, except for the 3 I did the Rangers in the 90s with Jerry, and nobody, him or Tex before him, nobody's ever asked me my opinion about how to do anything. So, I think you run the risk of the negativity that Micah is putting out in social media rubbing off on the other players. It's impossible for them to ignore the drama. They're doing the best they can. And, but we'll see, we'll have a spirited show to watch when they practice against the Rams today. And then the 3 preseason games will be interesting. But I mean, logic just tells you that it will get done at some point.
I love that the one thing that Micah Parsons and I have in common, you can hit me over the head with a hammer, and that's okay. But don't hurt my feelings, because then it's a whole nother story. It's a whole nother story.
Well, that's the difference between Micah, in my opinion. That's the difference between Micah and CeeDee Lamb and Dak Prescott the last couple of years, and Zach Martin 2 years ago. Those guys are mature and they understand the deal. I think Micah kind of lives out on the edge a little bit more, and he is much more willing to use social media to burn a bridge to take care of what he feels like right this minute. And that's, what we're trying to do here is in the world is build lasting relationships, and that's a little tough. That's a little tough on that when you're pouring every available thought onto social media. That's not always a good idea.
No. All right. A couple more questions for you, because I know you got a busy day. You mentioned Matt Eberflus. How much change can he ignite as this team's defensive coordinator? Because obviously defense was a huge issue. I think this change could really work out for the Cowboys. Do you feel the same way?
I do, but I would say defense as an issue, we all are working on recency bias, Pete. it was only 4 years ago that Dan Quinn, it was 5 years ago that Mike McCarthy came in. Well, I guess it'd be 6 because Mike had a 5-year 20. In 2020, admittedly a difficult year because of COVID,
Yeah.
the staff that Mike hired produced the statistically worst defensive team the Cowboys had ever had, statistically. Now, he hired those guys. They turned the staff over, and Dan Quinn came in, and their defense was the talk of the world, right? And they were in the playoffs for 3 years in a row, won 12 games 3 years in a row. That had neither of those things had been done with this franchise in 30 years. Wasn't enough, but the defense was not the problem. It was all the rage, and it's why Dan's the head coach in Washington now. You know, Matt Eberflus he's got a different approach than Mike Zimmer, and I think Zim's scheme could have worked with the right players. But last year, when we talk about how bad the defense was, and it was, but they lost 4 defensive ends all at once for a month. And then they lost all but about 2 players of their secondary. And one of those, arguably the best one, Jordan Lewis, is now in Jacksonville. And at the same time, they didn't have their quarterback much of the year. And so without any offense to support what you're doing defensively, then the pressure builds on the other side. So, yeah, the defense was bad last year, but those injuries, nobody could have survived those. So I think they did more to bring players in. I think that the veteran players they brought in will be really helpful. None of them's Dick Butkus, or none of them's Leroy Jordan or Bob Lilly, but that's okay. They're going to be improvements for the most part over what they've had. They're not going to have Trayvon Diggs until I don't know when, while he rehabs his knee. They're not going to have the rookie Savon Rebel until I'm sure he's going to miss a month, the first month of the season. And he's supposed to be phenomenal. But I didn't see him play in college, and I haven't seen him play yet because he's been rehabbing all spring and summer. So they don't have those guys. And then Josh Butler, who came off the practice squad last year, did a really nice job, filled in. He's still rehabbing. So it doesn't matter how good the scheme is if the players aren't good enough. I said to people last year, when they lost all those defensive ends, you can have the best scheme in the world. They could have got you and me and signed us and taught us the defense perfectly, and we could have learned it, and we could have lined up and done everything right, and we'd have gotten our tires blown off because we wouldn't be good enough to play those guys on the offenses on the other side of the ball. So the scheme is only as good as the players, and if their players aren't good enough, then it really doesn't matter. I do think Eberflus is really good. He knows what he's doing. I thought that when he was here coaching the linebackers with the Cowboys before, and I think he did a really good job in Indianapolis as the defensive coordinator. He knows what he wants, and he knows how to communicate it. And there's some guys who are out there who have had exposure to him, and they believe in him. So, yeah, I think they'll be better, but they got to have their players.
Okay, 2 more questions for you. Because there's a lot of tension around training camp, at least from the outside, around all the contract stuff. What's the biggest reason for optimism this year for Cowboys fans?
I mean, the quarterback is healthy. That's one thing. Yeah, I think the offense is pretty good. I think the offensive line is going to be better. It starts with that. Their biggest problem with the offense, besides the quarterback being hurt, was the offensive line just not being very good last year. Cooper Beebe was a rookie. Guyton really never got the hang of it. Zach Martin was a shell of himself because he was hurt. So they weren't good enough in the offensive line. If you're not good enough in the offensive line, you can't function. That line, given good health, looks to be a lot better. And the quarterback looks great. And I don't know if I would have signed or traded for Pickens if it was me, but for a year, you're not risking very much. And he looks great. His attitude's been great. And I mean, it looks like, just from the pure football standpoint, I think they've got two dynamic wide receivers. I think they've got a real plan for how they want to use Turpin and maybe even Deuce Vaughn if he gets healthy again. And I think they are going to commit to the running game, which I think is a good thing. So I think there's a lot of reason for optimism, especially on that side of the ball.
You used to talk last year on some of your broadcasts, like every year Mike Sherman would say we're committing to the run, but he just didn't. He just couldn't stick to it.
Mike McCarthy, you talking about? Mike said it. He said it for 2 years in a row anyway, and he either didn't mean it or he just got away from it in a hurry. I think Schottenheimer means it, and that's why they've signed some of the people that they've signed, and I think we'll see it in some of the schemes. And if you can run, you can throw when you want to throw. If you can't run, then you have to throw, and they play differently against you defensively, and it puts pressure on everybody all up and down the offensive lineup. So I don't think you have to have, balance stopped being 50-50 a long time ago. Balance is maybe 65-35 now. If you can be balanced and you can run when you want to run, then you can pass when you want to pass. And then if you have the players, you can get something done. So, yeah, I believe him. I'm dumb. I'll believe him until he proves us wrong, but I think he means it.
You mentioned Dak's health. Is Joe Milton ready to come in there if he were called on? Is he a better backup than, let's say, Cooper Rush? Hard for you to assess.
But the problem is it's not just – when you evaluate that, it's not just a question of who is physically more talented. I mean, Cooper, I don't know what he got to sign in Baltimore, but it was a pretty good sum, and he had earned his way into a nice veteran's salary. And Joe Milton's got a lot of physical characteristics, a lot of things to love. And we won't know really, I don't know if we'll ever know, but we will certainly have a better idea 4 weeks from now, after he's played in some preseason games, how he will react to stressful situations on the field. The worst quarterback in the league can make most of the throws. The thing that separates quarterbacks is the decisions they make. How do you see the field? How well do you know what your options are? And what do you do when the play breaks down? Dak's really good at that. And we'll see. You won't see fully in preseason because teams don't scheme. But there'll be people who don't mean him well running after him and trying to tackle him. And he'll have some decisions to make. He's got really impressive physical gifts. So we'll see. He's only been a year, in the NFL. Will he be as good a backup quarterback as Cooper Rush? He'll do some things better. He won't see the field as well. I thought myself, and I like Cooper Rush. I thought he took a step back last year from the player that he'd been the year before. And given the money, and given the fact that it's a hard salary cap, and you knew you had Parsons and Ferguson and Tyler Smith and Bland and Aubrey, and these people all need new contracts. I don't believe I would have invested that money in Cooper at this point. Now, if you think you've got a real Super Bowl team and the quarterback play might be the difference, then you spend a little bit more money. I think that's the case in Baltimore. That's what they think. Then you spend a little bit more money on a backup quarterback. So will he be as good a backup quarterback as Cooper Rush? In some areas, yes. In some areas, no. But hopefully we won't have to find out.
All right, I'll let you out of here on this. A question on August 5th. That you probably don't love to get, but you're Brad Sham, so I got to ask you, is this a playoff team?
Maybe. It's got a chance. I don't think I'd bet all my kids' futures on it, but every single year, there are teams who we know on August 5th are great, and they turn out to stink. And there are teams who we know stink, and they turn out to be playoff teams. So how healthy do you stay? How do you grow as a team? This is one of the most difficult schedules they've had in quite some time. And I am not one who likes to complain about the schedule because they're all pros and they shouldn't have easy games. But they happen to have the bad luck this year of playing two of the divisions, the AFC West and the NFC North, who are the most competitive. They got to play all those teams. So you got to play Detroit and Minnesota and Green Bay, and you got to play the Broncos and the Chiefs and the Chargers, and that's just bad luck. And based on what we know now and the way it looks, the second half of the schedule looks really, really difficult coming out of the bye. And there's a lot of difficult travel and stuff. So I wouldn't say that I wouldn't bet on it because I know these guys too well to ever bet money on them. But I wouldn't bet on it being a playoff team, but I wouldn't bet against it either. They have the opportunity to compete for that, and that just depends on them and how well they come together.
Well, looking forward to seeing it. Looking forward to hearing the soundtrack to the season. Thanks to you, Brad Sham. It's an honor, Brad, to have you. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Have a great day and stay inside in the air conditioning.
You got it. That's Brad Sham, everybody, the Hall of Famer. All right, we're going to come back, react to his legendary commentary, and there was a lot on the bone there, and just always great to catch up with a voice like that and a guy like that. All right, Pete Sousa Show, presented by Slovacics. We're back after this break.
Dive into adventure with Scuba.com, your ultimate destination for top-tier scuba and snorkeling gear. With over 20 years of experience, our expert staff, who've dived everywhere from the Galapagos to the Maldives, provides personalized advice to help you find the perfect gear for any underwater journey. Shop leading brands like GoPro, Aqualung, and Scuba Pro. Whether you're a beginner or a pro, trust Scuba.com for the best in diving equipment and expert guidance. Explore now at Scuba.com. That's SCUBA.com. Scuba.com. At Fullwell, we bring together the expertise of registered dietitians, MDs, and OBGYNs to give you the best fertility support. Our research-backed bioavailable formulas are crafted with your health in mind, ensuring the highest quality and safety. From preconception to pregnancy and beyond, we exceed industry standards with independent testing for harmful contaminants. With our comprehensive practitioner directory, personalized care is always within reach. Fullwell, your trusted partner on your fertility journey. Visit us at fullwellfertility.com. Experience the perfect blend of exquisite craftsmanship and life-changing technology with Gevi. Every product is built with precision, featuring specialized parts that ensure durability, efficiency, and safety. We put every machine through 6,000 rigorous tests to guarantee long-lasting performance. With cutting-edge technology and a commitment to energy efficiency, Gevi makes your life easier, greener, and more convenient. Upgrade your everyday with Gevi. Visit us at gevi.com to discover more. That's gevi.com.
With San, owning iconic furniture no longer requires paying a premium. We use the finest materials like Italian top-grain leather, known for its durability and luxurious feel, and apply meticulous attention to detail in every piece we create. Our replicas are crafted with the same care and precision as the originals, but at a price that makes them accessible. With over 15,000 satisfied customers worldwide, we've proven that high-quality furniture doesn't have to come with a high price tag. Explore our collection today at san.com.
At Covers & All, we've revolutionized protective solutions with cutting-edge, customizable covers, tarps, and curtains. Using advanced tech fabrics that are 100% waterproof, UV tear, and abrasion resistant, we ensure lasting durability with hand-sewn double-stitch seams. Our commitment to quality, precision engineering, and customizable options is unmatched. With vertically integrated operations and express shipping, we deliver premier protection at affordable prices. Visit coversandall.com today for the perfect fit, guaranteed to last.
At Open Goal USA, we're revolutionizing training for both soccer and lacrosse with our innovative portable rebounders. Perfect for players of all ages and skill levels, our rebounders improve accuracy, control, and technique in both sports. Built with premium materials for durability and ease of use, they're ideal for training anywhere, anytime. Whether you're perfecting your soccer game or sharpening your lacrosse skills, Open Goal USA has you covered. Visit OpenGoAAALusa.com and elevate your training today.
Relax with Hemp Delicious. Organically grown hemp, massively blended with delicious organic herbs, responsibly sourced for their holistic benefits. Each sip offers calming, antioxidant-rich wellness. Brewed just for you. Sip the calm with Hemp Delicious. Find your blend at hempdelicious.com.
Introducing Muck-Off's classic pink bike cleaner, powered by revolutionary nanotechnology that breaks down dirt and grime on a microscopic level while protecting your bike's delicate finish. Developed by our mad developer Alex and tested by riders, our products are made by riders for riders. Discover more at us.muc-off.com, where we break the mold to bring you the best in bike care.
Get paid faster with Bill, the easiest way to send, receive, and manage your payments. No more delays, no more hassle. Whether you're a freelancer or a business, Bill makes payments seamless and secure, simple, fast, and reliable. Sign up today at Bill.com.
The Pete Sousa Show is back after chatting with the legendary Brad Sham, obviously the voice of the Dallas Cowboys, dating back to 1983. Interesting to learn he started with the team in 76. I knew he was an analyst with Vern Lundquist. I thought it started in 77. That was just through documentation, but he was called on out of the bullpen in 76. And, that's older than I am. So that's pretty cool. I mean, that's basically 50 years of Brad Sham. Being the voice, basically, of America's team. So he is in a special lure. Speaking of Brad Sham, well, one thing we got to talk about, and I'll bring Scotty in for this, just some reaction to that, because I thought that was a pretty big comment he made about when he said, and by no means in a derogatory fashion, but, Micah has his feelings hurt. And I thought that when he gave the context, right, and said that CD and Dak and Zach Martin all operated on a different plane. And basically, I'm not putting words in Brad's mouth. Stop me if I am, because it's the last thing I want to do. But, he basically said Micah just lives online a little too much. And he needs to and look, I do too, man.
Yeah.
Especially with this show. I'm constantly posting stuff or I got to get offline. So I'm the first one that needs to do that. Because I told Brad I get my feelings hurt. But what did you make of that comment?
Yeah, it's interesting. I think something I say a lot to people when there's a disagreement is, hey, we're adults and two things can be true at the same time.
Yeah.
I believe Brad. I don't think he's lying to us.
No, of course not.
But I also think what we've said earlier yesterday and even late last week about the way Jerry's been kind of conducting I'm not going to talk to agents. And we're going to lock Tony Romo in a closet and put my knees on him and force him into a contract.
With Parcells.
Yeah, that sucks. I think I'm still Team Micah on this whole deal.
Yeah.
What Brad has helped me come to see, and what I think, who else said this? Mosley would probably feel this way. We can ask him when he comes on tomorrow. Matt Mosley tomorrow, everybody. From Oxnard.
Yeah,
that's
baby.
right. Jinx. What he's helped me realize, I think I really panicked. I mean, you saw me panic late last week as we were closing the show Friday.
Everybody did.
I really panicked.
Yeah.
I really thought when Micah posted that deal on Twitter, especially after the show, that he was gone. Just usually when an athlete posts something like, I don't want to be a Cowboy anymore, they're actually done.
Yeah.
And it appears as if he's at practice walking around. He was in his jersey yesterday, not practicing.
Yeah.
It appears as if, even though he said, I don't want to be in Dallas, they're going to get it done.
Yeah.
So I have a lot more confidence today on a Tuesday than I did on Friday.
Yeah.
That it's going to work out. Because on Friday, I was like, we just let the best defensive player of a generation walk away.
Yeah.
And that had me mad,
Yeah.
So.
I totally agree. I Prisoner Pete, right? And I like to see I do a good job.
I love that I gave him this name a few weeks ago, Prisoner Pete. And he's just owned it ever since.
One of my best friends in the world, John Tobias, has always called me a prisoner of the moment, dating back to 25 years ago.
I thought you were about to say I was one of your best friends in the world. But
well, you are one of
Go
my
ahead,
one
Pete.
of my best friends in the world, Scotty. You're stuck with me here every day against your will. No, I like to think you're willing. But
I did just tell Corey I would stay a little longer. So
whoop 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 whoop. There you go. I like that. Happy Scotty. Happy wife, happy life. That's what I say. But I appreciate Brad giving us that context and kind of bringing us back down to earth. The moment Mosley did that with the tweet moments after it happened.
He did.
Basically was like, "This will get done," and that reaction that we had as fans is fair because we hadn't seen that. Dak didn't do it. CeeDee Lamb didn't do it. Zach Martin.
Yeah,
didn't
right.
Do it.
Well, and again,
know?
you just talked about how Mike is such an online. He's truly
Yeah.
Gen Z with like online presence and
Yeah.
how he. So, I guess when he posted on social media, that
Yeah.
carried more weight for me.
Yeah.
And again, it was the statement, "I no longer want to be Dallas Cowboy." That felt to me like I'm slamming the door.
Yeah.
And it's apparent since then. It's like I've shut the door, but I've got my ear on the door, and I'm
Yeah.
hoping that Jerry's coming down the hall like, "Sorry, Micah. Hey, hey, I know, man. Let's get this done." You know, it's like Mike is
Yeah.
listening down the hall for you know, this analogy is breaking down quickly, but whoever's coming down the hall, he wants to still be in Dallas, so that's good news.
One thing occurred to me yesterday I wanted to share is that I was listening to Bill Simmons, and he had Diana Rossini on, and Diana Rossini made the point that, hey, like, nobody wants to leave the Cowboys. And Simmons, so she's like, that's, when you think about it, it is sort of jarring to hear someone say, I want to leave the Dallas Cowboys. And she talked about.
Well, it was even jarring last season when DeMarcus Lawrence got to Seattle.
Yeah.
And the first thing he did was start throwing shade about how the Cowboys run the organization and stuff. That was jarring.
But here's my point. Here's my pushback on DeMarcus Lawrence and people that, and I believe this is true, okay? The Cowboys and America's team, that comes with the power of television. And what I mean by that is the Cowboys are always on. And a lot of those other teams nationwide, I know that the NFL has cornered the market on pro sports and being the most celebrated sport. But the Cowboys are always the featured game every week, whether it's the 4 o'clock window on Fox, or whether it is a Sunday night game on NBC or Monday Night Football on ESPN, like, or you know, games that end up turning up on. I think they have a Netflix game this year, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong, but like, they are always the featured entity of the NFL. Win, lose, or draw, that's the way it is.
Yep.
And it's the same way that you recruit young men to go to colleges since the beginning of time. We're on TV all the time.
Yep.
It's the first thing Deion Sanders said when he got to Big 12 Media Days. The first thing he opened his statement with is that no other team was on linear television or like the flagship networks like ESPN or ESPN2 all year long. That was us. Fox, they were always on Fox. Or like regular Fox or ESPN, basically, he was saying.
Yep.
And people want to play for that. And so
Absolutely.
I do think that that's an alluring part of the Cowboys. Like, I don't care what anybody says. Like, the power of television still exists, and I think that helps Jerry.
And
even in an online world, I still do stand by this, the power of television. Like, when it comes to Sunday in the NFL, everybody's watching, right? And those marquee games, people are watching those more.
I think those translate very parallel to each other, though, because I think the power that gets the Cowboys in all those spots on television is what gets Micah Parsons a successful podcast. Like, I don't think Micah Parsons, and he's talented and smart and funny, and like not to take away from him, but yeah, I know I'm agreeing with you that if he were a linebacker for
the Bills,
the Minnesota Vikings, right, like anyone like that, he could probably still have a podcast. He'd have half the listeners he has as the Cowboys edge rusher, right? Like, that's just what I believe. That cachet carries itself beyond
Imagine
TV.
if Myles Garrett was a Cowboy. Like,
oh
seriously.
My gosh, dude.
Like, seriously.
Dude, yeah.
How much more we will be, like, jamming.
Locked into his every day.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
That's a great parallel.
So,
Excellent. So that's what I'm saying. I'm
yeah.
agreeing with you. It's
Yeah.
For Micah just has to look. I bet if we went through all analysts on TV right now,
yeah,
the NFL team most represented is the Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah.
Easily.
Easily.
Like he just has to know. It's not just.
And they would want it to be more if Jason Witten was more comfortable.
Was good at it, right? It's just if Micah wants a relevant podcast now, a YouTube career after football, if he wants to go be an analyst after football, if he wants to go be a coach, there is something about the Dallas Cowboys brand that is going to make those doors open. He would have doors anywhere. He's Micah Parsons.
Yeah.
But that Dallas Cowboys,
he's going to live a great, successful, fruitful life.
That Dallas Cowboys brand only helps you
Yeah.
post-football, during your off-season, all of it.
Yes.
All of that extra exposure is very real.
Yeah.
So you hit the nail on the head, sir.
Oof, how about that? I rarely get that.
Give us your Happy Gilmore review.
Yeah, let's do the Happy Gilmore because we have Brad Sham on. Of course, Brad's partner was Vern Lundquist. And I'll start there. The cameos make this movie worth the watch. And if you are at all a golf fan, it actually is pretty funny because to see Brooks Koepka, Scotty Scheffler, Xander Schauffele, but bigger names like Rory McIlroy, Bryson DeChambeau, like those guys are featured, not featured, they are featured prominently. As is Vern. Vern has a much bigger role, I feel like, than he did the last time. And my expectations, this is the most important thing I can tell anybody about watching Happy Gilmore 2. Like, do not, if you carve out a Friday or Saturday night or whatever your big night is to watch this, you will be disappointed. You will. You will be disappointed. If you make time for this movie, you're not going to like it. If you allow this movie to seep into your life at the right time, and you'll know when that time is, and you know what I'm talking about, right? You know what I'm talking about. Whether it's a plane or finally the day you have nothing to do at 4 o'clock on a Saturday right before college football starts. Like that is the Happy Gilmore window. Do not fool yourself and think that you're going to witness anything like the first one. I also think it's tough for people that like the first one to like the second one in the same respect because we've all evolved. I mean, I was in high school, I think, when the first Happy Gilmore came out. You know, I was all about like the silly, goofy humor, and you know, some of it holds up. I mean, some of that same humor I did really laugh out loud. But I want to give some of the cameos. Like this is who you're in for. And we mentioned about being too online. I have my phone right there in my holster all movie long because, and again, I watched it in two different clips. I watched the first 45 minutes of Christie's on Sunday, and then I watched the rest yesterday afternoon. So obviously, Steve Buscemi's in it. Not obviously. Steve Buscemi's in it. Ken Jennings, Jeopardy host. John Daly. Kelsey Plum is in it. Along with, and I didn't even know this guy, Grammy-winning producer Andrew Watt. That's how, by the way, I know that my pop culture identity, my ability to assess what's important has gone down because I had to Google who a lot of these people were. Eric Andre's in it. Dan Patrick, pretty hefty role. And then you get into, like, the golfers, right? Sadie Sandler's in it, by the way. Ben Stiller. Alex Earle. Cameron, Treasure Wilson, Paige Spurnack, you know, the female golfer who's a big hit on Instagram. I think that's a safe way to say it. She's in it. Blake Clark, John Lovett. I don't know. Oh, John Lovitz. Yeah. I think they put his name wrong, right? Yeah. And let's see. Travis Kelce, Bad Bunny. I mean, Bad Bunny's got a huge role, by the way, and he's very funny. And then toward champion golfers, I mentioned, but here are the other ones. Tony Finau, Will Zalatoris, Bubba Watson, Justin Thomas, Rory I mentioned, Scheffler I mentioned. Rob Schneider's in it. Always nice to see somebody. Huh? You like Schneider? No, of course. Yeah, of course, yeah. Yeah. Post Malone. It's always nice to see a guy like Rob Schneider turn up in a movie like that, and I'll tell you why. Because Rob Schneider has at times, I feel like, gone off the radar politically. And it's nice to know that him and the Sandman are still like, you know what I mean? Like, I do love this because I think that this is what America is all about. I love people that have two totally different opinions politically, still sharing the love, hanging out, and being friends. And I feel like that is probably what we have here. And then let's see, Eminem is in it. So it's really good, man. I'm sorry. I just said that. That was a lazy comment. It's interesting to watch. The cameos keep it fresh. If this movie did not have the cameos, it wouldn't be any good at all. Truthfully, it wouldn't be any good at all. Lest anyone think this movie is about anything more than the celebration of this wonderful memory we all had when we were younger. That was Happy Gilmore. And yes, I love Adam Sandler. But alone, he couldn't carry this train wreck. You need the golfers. And I think he would be the first to admit that. I was wondering what it must have taken to get him to do this, whether it was his idea or whether it was someone else's, because even though the movie's no good, I think it still made more money than any movie going right now. As far as how those metrics are measured, like streaming wise. So I just people are watching, and I'm one of those people. And I will give it. Let's see. Let's do stars. I'd give it 2 stars. I would give it 2 stars only because of the cameos. If there were no cameos, I would give it 1. I would. But the cameos make it. I'm not going more than 2 stars. Movie's not for everybody. You may watch it and have no idea who these people are, which means you shouldn't be watching it. But anytime I get to hang out with these golfers Scotty Scheffler, there's a point in the movie, I'm going to spoil it, where Scotty Scheffler knocks a guy out on a golf course and the police are coming to arrest him on the golf course. And he says, "Oh, not again." I mean, and that was like, I laughed out loud. So the golfers, I think, were my favorite part of the movie, watching those guys, knowing how good they are, and seeing how much this movie obviously meant to them, that they were collectively the best golfers in the world, would get together and be a part of this. So it was a fun movie. I recommend it. But remember, don't put it in a block of like an important piece of time for you, because you won't be happy. All right, the Pete Sousa Show. We're wrapping it up today on a Tuesday. We will be back tomorrow. We're going back out to Southern California, because why wouldn't we, right? But really because Matt Mosley's out there with Ed Werder. And you can make sure you are checking your Doomsday podcast feed on the Rogue Media Network, because Matt Mosley and Ed Werder are busy posting videos. I think Matt had an interview. Who do you have an interview with last night? George Pickens. Come on, dude. Why are you even watching this? Go click on that, all right? And we'll have Mosley tomorrow, the Pete Sousa Show. See you guys.
It's the Pete Sousa Show. Sports.
We definitely love our relationship and love Extraco. It's been an amazing experience.
They made the PPP process easier. They were reaching out to me saying, what can I do to help you? That made a huge difference, because my stress level, when we shut down to afterwards, was night and day.
Our experience with Extraco has been phenomenal since the very beginning, so we love Extraco.
Nobody tells our stories better than our clients.
The difference is stark. I was rear-ended at 70 miles an hour. I was injured, had a concussion. The insurance company, they delayed. They were playing games from the initial conversation. They weren't going to help me. The biggest thing I learned through this is that you can't go through this alone. I called Daniel Stark. They were going to help me, and everything was going to be all right. Daniel Stark got me 10 times the insurance company offered.
The difference is Stark.
We are Rogue Media Sports.